Hi, welcome to the Full Monty Show. Today our guest is KRISS Vector 9mm. But first, let's do the field stripping, and then we're going to get into the Full Monty. So let's begin by removing the magazine. And then we're going to make sure the hammer is back. You remove these 3 cross pins. They are not captive. Doesn't matter which one you pull. You don't need a tool for them. Separate the upper from the lower, like that. Then remove the 4th pin, which is right here. And your bolt assembly should slide out. That's your bolt. That's your recoil spring. You do not, the manual says, do not tamper with the FCG. So this is as far as you go with your field stripping. Okay. And now we can begin with the Full Monty. It's going to be a long one, so might as well just get right into it. First I'd like to do is remove the fake suppressor and the buttstock. The fake suppressor has this set screw right here. And you unscrew it. And then the suppressor just slides out. Okay, put that aside. Just like to lighten this weight because this is quite a heavy gun. It's like over 9 pounds. And to remove the buttstock, there is a crosspin, vertical crosspin right here. You press it from the bottom up. And then you slide the stock from the left to the right, like that. Okay. And then pull back. Okay. There's a little hook here that hooks it on. This, even though this looks like a hinge, it actually does not hinge. You could get the original stock that's foldable, and that's what this is there for. But this M4 stock is not foldable. So to remove the buttstock itself, it's pretty simple. You just okay, so that's just, you just separate that. And to remove the buttstock, it's like all the other ones. Yeah, you pull this pin up like this, and then you pull this completely out. Okay, and then this, you get an AR wrench, castle nut, unloosen this castle nut, and then there is a really tiny, actually there's 2 set screw at the bottom of the stock. You unloosen it, this, and then you should be able to turn the whole entire stock out. Okay. Next, the upper. There is a storage cap here. You just pull that out. The selector, you need a Allen wrench. There is a screw here. Just there it is. That's the right side. And this is the left side. The selectors are not interchangeable. So what's for the right stays to the right, what's to the left stays to the left. Next thing you do is remove these flip-up sights. You know, again, you need a bigger Allen wrench. This gun uses various imperial Allen wrench and metric, so please get both sets. After you unscrew that, just slide it forward. Okay, just slide it forward. Now it's going to stick a little bit in the front. I always find it sticks in the front, but just there it is. It finally came out. Now, same thing with the back. Use an Allen wrench, pin. I might as well put this one back on the sight. Yeah. Now just slide it forward. And again, wiggle it past the front. And okay, next thing is there's a screw for the rail in the front. Take that, unscrew it. Okay, that's the screw. Okay, on the side, on the left side, there's a tiny set screw right here. Okay, this is not the smallest. Let's take this tiny Allen wrench. See if that fits. It does not fit. Okay. Oh, it's not a Allen wrench at all. It's a, there is a, looks like a cotter pin on the side. It's about 3/4 of an inch from the front, and let's see if I could remove it by pushing it out. Oh yes, I can. Okay, now I have to go find a really tiny nail or something, and I'll be back. Okay, on the left side of the rail, about 3/4 inch from the front, there's a cotter pin, a really tiny one. So I use a nail and I punch that through, and here it is coming out from the other side. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers, needle nose plier, and I'm going to just pull it out. Nope, it needs to be tapped out some more. So I'm just going to need to tap it out some more before it'll actually come out. It needs to be tapped some more. Yep, there it is. I tap the nail right across, and there it is. It's a really tiny cotter pin. Now that the pin is removed and the screw is undone, you should be able to slide this rail forward. Okay, with a mallet and a piece of wood, I was able to tap this rail completely forward and out. You can see where that cotter pin stopped it from moving forward, and I guess the screw in the front was just a reinforcement to make sure it doesn't move forward. I guess that's just that's what it looks like. It's made of aluminum. Okay, and this is what the top actually looks like. Okay, I'm not going to unscrew these because what they do, they probably hold the FCG, and the manual says do not touch them. But if you really have to, then this is how you get to your FCG. But I'm not going to do it. Now, the last thing that you remove from the upper is this port area for the exit port for the ejection rounds, and you just unscrew these two screws. That's not the right size. This is it, and one's there and one's over here. Here, I'm going to put that here, make sure it stays together. And you would need to change this. If I went from 9mm to a 45, then you need a bigger one of these, okay? Because you can't use this. And that's why you should be able to remove this aluminum piece. Here it is, it's coming out, and that's basically held by two screws in the back. And this is what it looks like inside. As you can tell, this has never been removed, and it's quite oily and dirty in there. I'll clean this up before I hand it back to my friend. This is it. This is as far as you go with the upper. Okay, next is the lower. I'll put this aside. And here, take a good look. That is an 18.5-inch barrel, and it would look pretty ridiculous without a suppressor, but I think it would look great if it only had a half suppressor, half like a ventilated shroud, instead of this complete fake suppressor, and that weighs a whole pound, believe it or not. Okay, let's get right to this. First thing you do is remove these 3 screws on either side, the hex screws. Okay. 1. I already loosened them earlier. 2. 3. Now you do the same on the other side. 1, 2, 3. Next, use a smaller Allen wrench, and you remove it's the BHO, okay, and this is your BHO feature right here, and you remove that by unscrewing 4 hex screws. That's 1. That's 2. 3. And this is 4th. Okay. So all you do after unscrew those 4, you just lift it up, straight up, like this. And this is what it looks like right here. Oh, better not lose the screws. Okay, be careful with the screws. You don't want to lose them. This part is made out of steel. Okay. And then there is a silver plate underneath the BHO. You push that up. Like that. Okay. These are up. And just put it like you would, like that. Okay. Next, now you separate them. And to separate them, you have to unlatch this spring. This cocking spring that's right here. Unlatch it from this post right here. Okay. Just unlatch it. It'll stay in. Don't worry about that. Okay, like that. Now you can separate. This should go down like this. Okay, see it's coming down like that. Okay. And here is the outer part of the lower. It's plastic, except for this other BHO feature that actually connects with this piece. You can see that. And this is the mag catch. That's what it looks like inside. Again, it's a little bit dirty, but that's okay. I'll clean that up. Okay, now as far as this reel concerned, I can't, there again, there's another pin right here. And yeah, it's about a 1/4 inch from the front, right, hidden right here. See that? Now to remove this rail, now obviously this gun has a lot of accessories, and some people might want to remove that rail and put something else in there, and that's why you probably need to know how to remove it. So you just basically take a nail and punch that out like I did, and it is coming out. Okay, it's completely out. It's probably the same size as the one for the upper rail. I'll just put this over here. Okay, remove my nail, and you should be able to slide this small rail forward. Okay, again, it's probably never have been separated before, so it's going to be a little on the hard side. Okay, I tried to remove the smaller rail out, and it's really stuck in there, so I'm not going to bother trying to force it, otherwise I might break it. So I'm just going to leave it, but that's how you remove it. It slides forward, as you can tell from the dovetail right here. It slides forward. You can't slide back, so you got to slide forward, but it's really stuck, so I'm not going to bother. Next thing I do with this cover for the lower is to remove another part of the BHO, and to do that you need a small nail, and there's a C-clip right here. Okay, right here, and you need to lift that up. Okay, and that's, here is that C-clip right there. Okay, just use a small nail, same nail that I've been using to put here so it doesn't get lost. And once that is done, use the same nail to push the pin that was held in by the C-clip from the back to the front. Just push that through like this, and it should come out like that. Okay, so this is what it looks like. See it? And this is the other piece of the BHO that the magazine hits, and then they activate the actual lever of the BHO. Alright, so I'm just going to put this where the C-clip is. And okay, the last thing to be removed is the mag catch. Now the mag catch, you need a really small Allen wrench, and it fits right in here, and you unscrew it. There's a lot of screw on this gun. Oh, and look at how tiny that hex screw is. That's pretty damn tiny. Look at that. So tiny that I'm gonna have to put it right here. Make sure it don't get lost. Removing the other one. Okay, make sure it's there. And then this piece comes up. Okay. Now remember, this one, it's wider on top and narrow on the bottom, so the wider part goes up. Okay, I'm going to put that along with that, and then you push this down. You can feel it's spring loaded. And to remove this piece, the spring loaded, you have to use a screwdriver, and there's a leaf spring right in the middle that's holding it. It's, as you can see, I'm pushing it right now. It's pushing it to this side. It's pointing this side. So all I have to do is use a screwdriver, and okay, there's a little spot on the mag catch on the inside. You pull that up. It's hard to show you, but I have to place this down, and then I have to lift it up like this. You see it? It's in front of the screwdriver. Okay, it's just a leaf spring, and now I should be able to, with this up, I should be able to push the mag catch out. There it is. It's all completely out. There it is. It's coming out. It's just a plastic mag catch. Okay, so it goes back in this way. Okay, I'm just going to put that down. Don't bother removing that leaf spring right there. Just leave that there. Alright, so this is all made of plastic, including, this might be made of aluminum. Alright, so, okay, there is these silver bolts. Do not touch them. Okay, they're not meant to be removed. There's two screws over here that need Allen wrench. Do not touch those either. One is for the trunnion, and the other one is for the ejector. Okay, this part I would not touch it. It's the, but if you break an ejector and you need to replace it, that's where you undo it, right there. Now the last thing to do is the cocking handle. The cocking handle, now that's fairly simple. There is a pin that holds the top of the cocking handle, and it has a kind of a spring attached to it. So to remove that, the cocking handle, now you might want a different optional cocking handle, and to do that, I don't know why you would, because this is a pretty good cocking handle, but to do that you'll have to move the cocking handle to about the center and then push on the pin from the inside. Okay, I can't show it to you now because I have to put it down, but you'll have to push the pin from the inside out. Okay, you see this pin right here, this pin here, right here. For it, you have to punch that out. And let's see if I could even do that. Okay, I'm not going to bother doing that because I do not have a proper punch, and the inside is a quite a tight spot. Okay, so I'm not going to bother doing that, but that pin needs to come straight up to remove the cocking handle. Okay, now as far as the spring concerned, the spring right here, I'll show you what I mean. This spring is captive right here. See it? Okay. What holds the spring in is another set screw that's here. And again, it's a very tiny set screw that, oh no, I think it's just a, I don't think it's a set screw. It's just a cotter pin right here. Right here. To replace this spring, if it's broken, okay, you need to drive that cross pin out, straight out. Again, I'm not going to do that. This isn't my gun, so I'm not going to do that. So, that's basically it. I think I should reassemble this because this is quite complicated. So let me clean this first and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I cleaned the best I could. I just used solvent. Do not use a brush because these are plastic. And we're just going to do the reverse. I'm going to put the mag catch back first. And if you remember, there is a spring in here. It's a wire spring. I don't know if you can see it there. There it is, right there. And we stick that back in. But before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit of oil in it. Grease it up a bit. Just going to put a dab of oil. Like that. This. And I'm going to stick that in. I'm going to use a screwdriver. I'm going to lift this spring up. So let's see if you can see it. You cannot see it. Right there. I got the screwdriver head under the spring. I'm going to lift that up. At the same time, I'm going to push the mag catch in. Here, I'm going to put this down. I'm just going to wiggle that in a bit. Okay. Now, once it's over the mag catch, as you can see, I'll just push this over. And I'm going to use the screwdriver to push it into, there's a slot there, and there it is. It's in. And I'm going to test it out to make sure it works, and it does. The next thing I'm going to do is put this little plastic. It has really tiny screws, hex screws. And if you remember, the bigger part, the bigger goes on top like this. And now if you can find a tiny Allen wrench, put it in here. is, I got it. Okay. I'll put the second one. This is not an easy gun to disassemble and reassemble because there's a lot of screws, and as you can see, these screws are very tiny. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to work on is the BHO. Check that out, that's good. Now I grab the lever, it's the BHO, and this is what it looks like. And it goes in here, okay, like this. Okay, or is it upside down? I think nope, this is the way it goes. Now I gotta hold it to make sure, and then there's a pin I removed, and it's right here. And by the way, this pin looks like that. Okay, let me stick this back in, and then I'll stick this pin through the BHO, and it's a BHO lever, and I'll stick it in like from here, from the front to the back, like that. Okay, and I'm going to push that towards the back. If only I could have it lined up properly, then I could push that to the back. Nope, got it wrong. That's why. This way, got it backwards. Push it. Like I said, all these pins and screws are kind of tiny. Okay, I'm not getting it in. I'll do it again. Not going in. There it is. Oops, I missed it. Pull it back out. Okay, maybe I should put this in first. Nope, that is too big. Do that again. Okay, got it. Now I'm going to push the pin in. As you can see, I'm going to push the pin in like that. And this is where the C-clip will go into. Here's the C-clip. Now the C-clip goes straight down. Let's put it in like that. I can barely see the C-clip. Okay, it's seated there. Now I'm going to use a screwdriver and I'll push it down. And it is in. The C-clip is in. Alright, that's good. The next thing I do is put the lower into the housing. But before I do that, I gotta make sure that this plate goes in, and this is the side up. Okay, like that. Okay. Now I'm going to push it towards each other. I'm going to make sure that this BHO is not caught up in there. Let me pull that back out again a bit. And here it is. That's it. Okay. Now I need to bring this silver plate down a bit. And it is. Now this is the actual BHO. Okay. This part, the higher part, goes towards the back, like this. Okay, now I need to make sure everything is all lined up properly. That's it. Everything seems to be working. And I need to make sure everything is nice and snug. And you should be able to see the serial number in that view. Okay, now I'm going to screw these with the 4 screws. Now let's see, which one is it? It's this one. One, two, three. I'll fully tighten this later. And some of these screws you have to even put Loctites on them. Okay. Now that is done. Check it out, make sure it works. And stick your finger in there and pull it to make sure that also turns. It does. And everything else works. Now, I clean the caulking handle. I also put some grease on the caulking handle. Now you have to pull the caulking handle all the way to the front, right? And now you have to use a plier or something like this and grab the head of the spring like this. See, I don't know if you can see it, but here is a spring. And there's a ring on the spring. See it? Okay. Now what I need to do is get the ring of the spring onto this silver post. Okay, and I'm going to put this down. Like that. I'm going to bend it in. Oh, it went back in. Bugger! Get back here. Oh! I think this is going to be a pain. Okay, I'm now got the spring in there. Good. That's good. Now that's done. Now I need to put these screws, there's 3 on each side, back in. Now I can find the proper Allen wrench. Yep, that's the one. That's number 2. And that's number 3. It's all good. Now you do it on the same 3 on the other side. Okay, I'll tighten them later. Now, I think that's it for the lower. Now we're going to start working on the upper. let me put this aside. And this is the upper. First thing we do is put the ejection port housing back, like that. Okay. Now there's two screws here, and which are these screws? This must be these ones. Yes, it is. Okay, now you put that one and that one. Okay, next, the rails. The one with the hole in it that goes in the front, and you slide it down this dovetail. Okay, so you go like that. Get a mallet. Get a mallet and tap it. Now you should be able to see there's a hole, tiny hole, about 3/4 inch from the front. You should be able to see right through the light. And if you see that, then you know it's time to put the skinny pin in. And since I drove it from left to right, then I'm just going to do the reverse, right to left. Okay, I'm going to tap the rest of the one, tap it the rest of the way later. Now it's time to put this screw back in. Goes to the front. This has to go all the way down, otherwise I won't be able to put the sights back in. Actually, front sights first. Remove the screws. Now push that in. Slide it to the front. And screw that in. Now the back screw, back sights. Remove the screw. Okay. Okay, that's done. I now will do the selector. I put a dab of oil in there. Okay, that's done. Okay, what's next? Next is the stop. Okay, make sure that this is pointing down, this part. Use the castle nut, lock it in place. Okay. And once this is locked in place, you use the tiny Allen wrench and tighten this. There's 2 set screw down here. Okay. Next, slide this in. Use a punch. Lift up this T-shaped thing. There it is. Now lift that quite high, and then it'll go down. Then you can turn this back to the other direction. That's it. Test it out. It's good. Okay. Now to put it back in, move it a little bit to the right. Okay, like this. Slide it in to the thing, and then move it to the left. Grab the pin and slide it in. Next, grab the, put this one in first. Okay, now you're ready to put the bolt in. Now, what I did is put a little dab of oil on these tracks, and maybe on the top too. Just put a little bit of oil. One there, and one or 2 drops there. Okay, and now make sure you're holding this. Grab this bolt, this slider, recoil spring, and this bolt goes like this. Turn. Okay, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Now hold it up like this. Now slide it in. These studs, these lugs, goes on the first groove, like that, and then this followed by this lug too, but this part goes to the second groove. Okay, like that. And once that is in, take a pin and insert it in like that. Next, then you put these together like that. Okay, and let's see what's left here. 1, 2, 3. Now, since, okay, so this goes in like this, and I need to tap it in. Okay, next, the fake suppressor. Just basically slide it in. Like that. There's a set screw right here. Looks like this size. It is. And it fits in there. Now, make sure it's exactly squared. And tighten it. I need to square this up a little bit more. Yep, that's it. Okay. There you are. It's now sitting in the indent. Great. Now, last thing to do is put the magazine in. And let's check it out to see if it works. It does. Now let's cock it. Make sure the cocking handle springs forward. And the BHO works. It's held back. Now let's check this, make sure the BHO works. I'm going to press the button, and it does work. Okay, next thing I should do, I should be able to hear the hammer. Okay, it's unsafe. It does work. There you have it. A complete full Monty. Thank you very much for joining me, and please subscribe.